Thanks, Linda. Okay, everybody. So again, I tell you, I know I reiterate this every single time that I've been on, but when I see the women who come on this group, who teach us, it actually restores my faith in everybody, in people, because the neshamas that come through, the involvement, the love, the caring, the closeness to Hashem, the giving over of their time, the taking the beauty of what they have and literally connecting everything that they have to being their neshama in this world and to sharing that and using it to reveal Hashem is just so humbling. I can't even tell you. And I'm really going to miss this because it has brought me such tremendous ahavas Yisrael on so many levels. Seeing such beauty and such grace and greatness in the Jewish woman. So in that, I feel very, very privileged and honored to introduce our guest speaker today, another incredible woman who gives a ton of classes, and I will share everything on the WhatsApp group, so not to worry. Reva Emunah Seidel, I want to thank Rachel Wyman for bringing her forward. She's a mystic, a seeker, a poet, and a dreamer. Her passion is for intimacy and living authentically, vulnerably, and dynamically. She is an imam, a Torah student, a teacher, a medical clown, a musician, a writer, a doula, a childbirth educator, body worker, a healer, a Jewish meditation facilitator of Torah, and psychology-based healing workshops for women. She is a student of the great masters of all traditions and aspires to live and to inspire others to live as true Hasidim, Hasidot, with open hearts, depth, truth, overflowing love, creativity, and with our whole bodies, hearts, minds, and souls. And I will send all her contact information and her shiurim that she's giving in Tzfat. So it is my honor. Reva Emunah, I'm going to give it over to you. Take off my face. I'm going to mute myself. Go ahead.
I am mamash moved to tears. This was so beautiful. I just want to check with you what time you would like us to finish. I wasn't clear about that before we begin. Nomi, if you could just tell me what time.
How much time do you need?
I just flow. So
I know. Can we move it into the 30 minutes, and if it goes a little bit over, it goes a little bit over?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Like 5 to 4, Bezrat Hashem?
Yes, Bezrat Hashem, yeah. 4, yeah. Okay.
That's perfect. Okay, so I just first really want to thank everybody for being online. This is so moving. What's going through my head when I was hearing all these tefillot and taking in all of this tefillot was a couple of things really. One was really the profound awareness that all of our neshamas contracted this moment, this previous Rosh Hashanah. We say this often in our classes because it never ceases really to amaze me. That somehow, everything was created on the level of potential, on the level of koach, we call it in Kabbalah and Hasidut. Every moment of this year, and how the gifts and the opportunities that we would be given in our unfolding on individual level, on a collective level, and my heart just feels so moved, so touched, so open. And it hasn't for quite a while. I just got through Corona. I've been very sick for the last 2.5, 3 weeks, and it was a rather intense and dark journey, very private and very inner. And the shared light of the coming together of our shared koach of the Knesset Yisrael, of the Shekhinah between us. Just looking at the chat, is so incredibly beautiful. It's so befitting to have this energy as we end Shvat and enter Adar, for me particularly, because I just felt all the Amalek energy melting away from around my heart. This the energy that we can, I can get stuck into of a tiredness or a weariness in this journey. And there was such tmimut, such innocence and sincerity and open-heartedness you could hear and feel in everybody's Tehillim and in the Nishmat and the Kavanot and the intention. So thank you. It's just already so beautiful. Thank you. I'll tell you the truth. Often when I'm asked to speak, I prepare several things because it always feels like it's a dynamic moment. It's a moment to step into being guided by Hashem and led by Hashem, and not to kind of get attached for me to any particular Torah or message. And often I will spend a lot of time preparing, and then something entirely different and new will come up and will flow through. It feels like that's about to happen again right now, honestly. Because I wanted to share with you, as maybe you saw on the flyer, the topic was Hayom Tishma'u, right? That I definitely feel that I experienced this already being with this group of women. I hope that we'll have many opportunities to come together and to strengthen one another. I for one, am just feeling very full with Geula energy right now, with hope, with this beauty of women. For me, it really reminded me of the Mecholot circle dances with Miriam and Nevi'ah, that this energy that she drew down, which kind of inspired the title of what we were going to do together today, right? Whereas Moshe Rabbeinu was saying, as Yeshir, right? As, from the gematria of the Aleph and the Zayin, of the 8, right? When we reach the 8 consciousness, as, when we reach that being a consciousness, then we'll be able to come together and open our hearts and connect and see Hashem's goodness and kindness. Miriam's message was very different. Miriam was saying, Shiu LaHashem, Shiu Chadash, Shiu right now, right? By even acting as if, by stepping into the circle energy, by stepping into the energy that everybody's voice matters and everybody's place matters and everybody's contribution matters, by stepping into that energy and singing Shavach Hoda'ah, praising Hashem, thanking Hashem for what is right now. That in itself opens the channels of Geula. This is something, the secret that Chazal tell us, that the Nashim Tzidkaniyot, that the righteous women had this understanding, right? That it's in right now, in this moment, in the Hayom, in the Kolot Tishma'u, like opening to the presence of the inter-inclusiveness, of the sharing, of the compassion, of the love right now, that we actually allow the energy of Geula to flow through us. And I have so many experienced this morning. So I'm just asking Hashem to guide me. I think that what I would like to do, what I have prepared a bit, but it's feeling a little heady to me right now, so I'm not sure where this is going to flow to. I'd like to probably end with a shared meditation because it feels what I've been feeling a lot lately, and now I'm seeing this and experiencing it so much more on this group, is that we've had a lot of time in Galut to talk theoretically, right? To talk about ideas, to talk about Geula, to talk about kindness, to talk about compassion, to talk about connecting, right? To talk about it and to visualize it and to yearn for it and to learn beautiful mafrashim and learn beautiful texts about it that feels so different. And with all the women that I'm encountering this year, what feels very different is that rather than talking about it, it's much more like we are right here, right now, sharing it, living it, breathing it, embodying it, shining onto one another and drawing out one another's light. And I wasn't expecting this. I'm so overwhelmed with new Emunah and Hitchut and light. So I think that we'll end, I hope, please God, with a meditation, and perhaps we'll just give a little bit of a taste, just a little bit of a taste of the energy of Esther Hamilka as we move into these two Adao, Aleph and Adao, because I feel that it's being so embodied in this space. And then we'll see if that will flow us into a direct experiential meditation. We can feel in our being, in our vessel. So I think maybe we'll just begin a little bit by the way, the reason that I had a bit prepared this a bit is because we've been studying lately on Tuesdays a series of called Mishay Tanakh, and we've been taking, every week we've been taking a different woman from Tanakh and exploring really, really deeply not just the usual ones like the Imahot, although we of course did the Imahot as well, but also trying to really give space for women that we don't often learn about, like Shaba and Osnat and Bitya Bat Pao and Serach Bat Asher, right? These really, really amazing and incredible faces of the feminine, of the Nukva, and their gifts and their messages to us and their strength, their beauty, right? All of the things that they left for us as a legacy, and truly see how we see ourselves in them, and we see the messages for us in our individual Avodah in their lives. So as we are heading now into Avodah, I thought it would be nurturing and healing for us to begin just a bit of a journey to tap into some of the gifts and some of the energies of Esther Hamilka. The way that we like to do this is to really delve deeply into Midrashim, into Zohar, into Kabbalah, Hasidut, Gemara, like all the different all the different spectrums and perspectives and layers of the woman as a human being, as an actual woman who lived, but also as a Patsuf, we might call like an archetype or even a face of our own psyche. One of the things that we're going to be exploring in the coming weeks, the next few months at the least, right? Very least, is some beautiful talks, which is what I was going to do with you today, but I think we'll dive more deeply into this there, about the Kruvim. And part of the idea of the Kruvim, which is so beautiful, as we uncovered this amazing piece of Torah about the Kruvim that many of us know, right, that sometimes they were in a face-to-face relationship, right, panim relationship, but sometimes they were a Hawaiian to Hawaiian, right, a back-to-back relationship. And that has to do with levels of vulnerability, levels of honesty, levels of willingness to be seen, right, without masks, and to see another deeply beyond their mask. Panim and Hawaiian also has to do with levels of our ratzon, right, of inner will, the inner will to give and to receive mutually. Back relationship tends to be one more of looking to.
Reva,
Yeah.
sorry to disturb you for a moment. I've had a request, please, to ask you if you could speak a little louder.
Absolutely, yes. Does this, okay, hold on. Does this help? Does that help to hold the microphone up? Does that feel louder?
That's better. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I think we're just going to dive in because I want to keep like an eye on the time, and we're getting pretty close with time here. So we'll just begin with this. This is literally just going to be a hakdamah, because usually when we learn Neshei Tanakh, it's usually a few pieces, halakim. If anybody can't hear me, please let me know again I'll check, maybe open the chat box. Okay.
Lovely. Thank you.
That sounds better. Okay.
Lovely.
Okay. So we'll begin just with one piece which I find fascinating, and I hope that some of you will join us in our women's groups. We're live in Svat, but we've also been Zooming for the past couple of years. So one of these ideas is this idea of the connection between Esther Hamalka, who she is on the level of Kabbalah and Chassidut, who she is as a Patsuf, right, or as an archetype, and the idea of her being green, right, the color green, the idea of what is the color green, what is Yarok, what is its connection to the main avodah or service of these next 2 months, which is, of course, joy, simcha, and simultaneously overcoming and diminishing until actually overcoming and wiping out whatever this energy is that we call Amalek, right? This, which Rabbi Nachman saw this beautiful piece where Rabbi Nachman, of course, teaches Amalek as being the seat of the Zuhamat HaNachash, right? The snake bite of sadness, heaviness, and depression. But the Arizal even went a step further, and he actually talks about as Haman being the actual physical embodiment of the Nachash, of the snake, right? Which really is about the energy of negativity and darkness that actually attacks the mind, right? This all began so much so that Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua, they have this discussion. So when were Adam and Chava really created? Right? Was it Rosh Chodesh Tishrei, or was it Rosh Chodesh Nisan? And of course, the answer is both. Right? It's layers. It's Shivi Panim. It's the 70 faces simultaneously. But Chazal resolved this by telling us that really really from Tishrei until Nisan, really what we're doing is creating on the level of koach, or on the level of the mind, on the level of potential. We're learning how to build within our mind, because everything flows out from there. Everything flows out from Keter, from our belief systems, and into the voices in our own minds, right? And how they affect us, and how they can build us, B'ezrat Hashem, or God forbid the opposite, right? Tear us down and stop our flow, and even to the point of this enormous kind of debilitating energy. So the Arizal goes on to say that Haman actually became the Gilgul, right? The reincarnation, or the physical human, so to speak, right? Embodiment of this energy that attacks the mind, this energy of coldness. So we'll go a little bit inside, and we'll talk about, I guess we'll just lay a bit of a map where we have sort of first like an outline of these ideas of the shorish of the word for green, right? So the word for green, yarok, in Kabbalah and Hasidut, of course, it's the shorish neshama, or the root. I'd say a yud and a reish and a kuf. Not to go too deeply into this, but just that itself is already an amazing and beautiful piece of Torah to explore. That the yud itself is Elul, right? And the kuf is a So we're already talking about a journey that we're going through, this green journey, right? That takes us from Elul all the way to Adar, and getting ready to enter into Nisan. That it's all somehow connected to working with and rectifying the positive faces of the color green and the energy of green. The energy means the tone and the sound and the partsuf, or the archetype, or the light or energy on the level of our psyche that has to do with the color green. And then Haman Amalek as being sort of the anti-green, right? Whatever green is in a positive sense, Haman Amalek has exactly those same qualities, almost on a level of like what we might call like antimatter, right? So we'll begin by saying, maybe we'll talk about a couple of Meforshim where we talk about Esther.
It's fading out a little bit. If you could get a little bit
Yeah.
louder, maybe a little bit further back, so
Yeah,
we could see
I'm
you better.
I'm holding them
A little further back.
now.
Thank you. Maybe it's a little too close. If you could sit back so we could see your mouth, so we could see your words, your beautiful words. Thank you.
Okay, but I'm holding up the microphone. Does that help to hold up the microphone?
Yeah,
Make
it does.
it louder?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you. Okay. So we'll begin by I'm sorry. I'll try to speak louder. This is something that comes up in a lot of our classes. Me and my tech challenges. Okay. So we'll begin just by kind of giving a tiny bit of an overview of some of the greenness that shows up in Kabbalah and Hasidut. So we have this idea. This is from a piece of Radak on Bereshit, and it talks about Tohu, right, the energy of chaos, the energy of Tohu, as being this unknowable darkness from the Aretz. Right? So there's a type of chaos that comes from really the blackness. And we have something called Tehom. This Tehom is referred to as the Tohu of the Yam. And then all of a sudden, Chazal come in and say there's another kind of Tohu, of chaos, chaotic energy, right? And of what seems to be perhaps like a randomness or like a level of coincidence. And we call this tohu kav yarok, right? This is some kind of a light, a green light that moves across the sky. And it was very beautiful because when I was looking at this Radak, so he seems to suggest that like there's a possibility even that these are the aurora borealis, right? Also known as the northern lights. Right? Those the beautiful bright green lights that light up the sky in the northern hemisphere, often called the northern lights. And he's just exploring there if this is an idea that's actually manifesting in the physical world. So we'll begin, like we said, with this little the shorish of Yud and Resh and Kuf Yarok. So if we want to say, to oversimplify it, right, on kind of a level of Kedusha and Tahara, so we're talking about here green as being connected to the color of Rachamim, the Kav Yarok, and the Tav Yarok. Oh, that's really amazing. Wow. I actually do think there is a connection. Somebody wrote in the chat box, a connection between the Kav Yarok and the Tav Yarok. I actually do think there's a very deep connection. Yeah. So we'll begin by saying that Zohar starts by saying that there's this something called the Kav Yarok. And this is, by the way, not to confuse anybody, but this is not connected. I mean, it's all connected, but it's not directly connected to the political line that's known in Israel as the Green Line, which has to do with a line that marks territories, the pre-1948, pre-1967 lines. That I mean, it's all connected, of course, but there's a political term called the Kav Yarok or the Green Line. That's not what we're referring to here. We're referring to on the level of Kabbalah Chassidut. Okay, so but normally we call this we call green in Kabbalah the Kav Yarok. If any of you are familiar with the song, you know, so it refers in that song to the Kav Yarok. Right, the Kav Yarok, and he calls the Kav Yarok Kodesh HaKadoshim. That's a reference to the Kav HaYarok, this green line. What do we mean by the green line? So when we take it back to the level of Kabbalah Chassidut, so we know that the right side, right, is the side of Chesed, of the unbound light, right, the light with no borders or light with no vessels. We call that light the white light, the side of Chesed. And then, of course, we have the left side. And this left side is the red side, right? The side of Kuvot, the side of the Tzimtzum, the side of the hiding of the light, the side of what we often will connect to as dinim, or the experience of delay in receiving the light, of suffering, of not seeing Hashem. God forbid, we're not experiencing Hashem in our lives, in any story, in any situation. And then we have, all of a sudden, Chazal introduce this middle column, and they call that the Kav Yarok. The Kav Yarok is a place where the Chesed and the Gvura are integrated and synthesized and harmonized, come to a place of harmony, which becomes an expression of beauty, an expression of truth. So Chazal begin by saying this. Esther ירקרקת הייתה, וחוט של חסד משוך עליה. That's from the Gemara Megillah, Yud Gimel Amud Aleph. Right, so really what Chazal begins by saying here that Esther was green, right? Yerakreket. Chazal have a whole conversation, by the way, that this is a whole spectrum of green, which includes, that's the whole point, right? That it's so beautiful and broad that it includes a green that actually goes all the way from a bluish green to a yellowish green, like a golden green. Right? And it's talking about she has this quality of greenness about her. Then the Gemara continues, "V'chut shel chesed mishoch aleha," and she has this chut shel chesed. She has this line of chesed that's mishoch aleha, that's drawn down onto her. Right? What does this mean, chut shel chesed? It means that she has some kind of quality that even in the darkest moments, in the darkest times, whether internally or externally, she has this ability and this quality to be able to draw down and to reveal Hashem's immanence in creation. In other words, Hashem's presence in wherever and whatever state of consciousness she's in, whatever's happening, in whatever story that she's in. She's able to continuously create anew, right, her whatever the circumstances are, and to tap into, what is she tapping into? The hashgacha pratit that's always there with her. Right? It always has this being able to always recognize, even within nature, even within the constricted places, Hashem's presence. So the Torah is often referred to as a chut meshulash, as a three-stranded string rope. Right? Chazal tell us that a chut meshulash, or a three-stranded string, is not easily broken. And Chazal come and tell us, what is this? This is the secret of the number 3. This is the secret of the red and the white and the green, right? Of embodying all of the, I hope you can hear me, all of the mixture of the energies. Because I'll go on and tell us that when we look at the word for makom, right, which is a space, commonly it's one of the names of Hashem as well, right, ha-makom. But in this word makom, or space, often that's referring to the tzimtzum. It's talking about the space, the field of this reality. And if you look at the word makom, the mem and the kuf and the vav and the mem sofit, right inside that word, you can see that there's the word kav already hiding inside of there. Right? It's that is showing us, it's giving us the meditation right there, that within the empty space, within the seeming absence of rachamim, or Hashem's love in any situation, there is a kav. If you notice, if you pay attention, if you know how to look like Esther HaMelech, there is this kav, this yofi, shining in right into that space. So Chazal go on and tell us more about her greenness. It's Esther Yoakleket Haita and Gavan Etuok. That's a piece from the Zohar, from Risha Yitzayim. Chazal tell us that there was something about Esther HaMelech that she was green like an etrog. She had this quality of an etrog, which already is going to kind of prick up our ears, right? Because we know that her real name was actually, she had 2 names, right? Esther was actually her Persian name, her Babylonian name, and her Hebrew name, of course, was Hadassah, from Hadassim, from Hadas, right? From the Alpaminim, from the myrtle, I think it's called in English. Right? So if we go back and we kind of just, and looking at the time here, wow. Okay, so I guess I'm not good at being able to mitzamtzem into a half an hour. So maybe what we can do is just give a bit of a little bit of a map here of this sholish of the yud and the resh and the kuf, and to be able to just kind of give a tiny little overview of sort of the side of Haman Amalek and the side of Esther Hanukkah. So on the side of Haman Amalek, we're going to have this Shoresh showing up. Kodem kol, right? First of all, as this idea, of course, of mikre, right? That everything is just random. Everything is lacking in essential meaning, right? The word mikre almost means to almost like stumble upon something, but the way that we can really maybe understand that energy is almost to casualize something, right? It doesn't, it's the opposite of Kedusha. It's really this energy of whole, of it's not unique or special or intimate. It's just, it's to be very, very accessible and very casualized. And I'll go on and tell us again a word that's, Chazal uses the word keri, kuf reshud, to talk about, right, Zera, or the life force, the very heart of life force, which is so precious. One drop can create an entire world, an entire human being. But that same word has to do again with it not having any value, lacking in value, being something again that's very casualized and not protected and not held in with reverence, right? So that's again that idea of mikre. Chazal then again go on to talk about Zachor et asher asa Amalek asher kalcha b'derech. It's again the same root to the kuf and the resh, right? Kalcha, remember what Amalek did to you when you were, right, all high, coming out of Kriyat Yamsuf, coming out of this unbelievable, personal and intimate revelation and experience of Hashem, of the divine within you, within your life, within your story, within your personal chisaron or lack in Yeshua and salvation. And but what did Amalek do? Amalek came and kalcha, and again brought in a coldness, brought in a rational mind, saying like, oh, I can explain all of this through the lens of, we love science and Torah, right? Science and Torah really are the yachid as they really go together. But here we're talking about against science as being disconnected from the whole picture, right? Frozen, right? This idea of cold, this idea of coldness of heart, of a mockery, of a cynicism. We're going to keep seeing these two sides of the greenness showing up again and again in Adal, again and again. Right? There's a laughter that's a laughter of release and a laughter of connection and a laughter of unity. But there's also this cold laughter, the laughter of mocking and the laughter of cynicism. That was the kind of laughter where Hashem said to Sarah, right, why did you laugh? And she said, but I didn't laugh. And Hashem said, but you did laugh, right? There was a fixing through Yitzchak, where there's a kind of a laughter that shuts you down, that freezes you, that disconnects. And so again, we're going to see that asher kalcha, this coldness, the opposite of the vibrant green. It's a green of, we often say green of envy, right? It's a green of kinah. It's a green of a redifut, right? Actually, a running after of money. I have to finish, so I'll give you 3 minutes on the other side of the green, and of course that's going to be Esther Hamalka called Yarok, called Yarak Repet, which has the word inside of it of Yakal, of being so valuable, of being so precious. That of course is going to be connected also to Layudim Haita Ora V'Simcha Sason V'Yikar, right? Everything being valuable, every moment of life being oozing with worth and meaning and value and depth, even the dark stories, even the hard times, even the cold times. It's a precise opposite energy of Amalek. It's an energy of such inclusivity, right? And again, it's the idea of we'll see moving into these next parashiot, right? It's always going to be the idea of Hashem calling, right? Vayikra, Hashem calling Moshe, Hashem calling Aaron. It's very intentional. It has so much kavanah. Every moment, every calling, to be called, to know your own calling, to know your own shlichut, to know your worth, to know value. It's going to be very deeply connected to photosynthesis, right? To the idea of plants and renewal and this symbiotic connection between human beings and the whole world of the tzomeach, of plant life. Right? Their carbon dioxide, right? They take that, they purify it and turn it into life for us, turn it into oxygen for us. These are all qualities of Esther Hanoka. She's this quality of the middle column of Tiferet, of Rachamim, of being able to see Hashem within the plurality and the multiplicity. I really apologize. We're at 4:03, so I'm going to honor the time and end here. And this was a good lesson for me that I'm not so good at paring things down into a half an hour. So I apologize. I hope it whet your appetite to want to connect more and to come together and explore all of these beautiful mysteries and treasures from Hashem together. And I wish you all a beautiful day. And I'm going to say thank you to everybody for being online, invite you all to explore with us together through all of these ideas of Rachamim and Purim and Mikra, and finding and releasing the deepest meaning in our individual stories and journeys, and our collected stories and journeys. I thank everybody again for sharing all those beautiful tefillot together. And